Welcome back to Bible Shorts, episode 51. David flees to the Philistines. Again. Now, in our last two episodes, we learned about a woman called Abigail who saves David from acting out in anger, and how David spared King Saul when he could have killed him. So, what does David do now? David says to himself in his heart, I shall certainly perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than to escape to the land of the Philistines. Then Saul will despair of seeking me any longer within the borders of Israel, and I shall escape out of his hand. So David goes back again to King Achish in Gath. And David says that he and his men will serve King Achish. And David and his men make raids against settlements to the south of Philistia on the way to Egypt. And they bring back sheep and goats and camels and clothes and give them to Achish, who is very pleased. But Achish thinks David is raiding in Israel, not realizing David is not going anywhere near there. And Achish thinks to himself, oh, he's made himself utterly abhorrent to his people Israel. Therefore, he shall always be my servant. So everything is going pretty well. And then Achish and the other Philistine kings decide it's time to go attack Israel again. And Achish says to David, you know, of course, that you and your men are to go out with me in the army. And David says to Achish, oh, very well, then you shall know what your servant can do. I wonder what David means by that. The Philistines assembled, and Saul brought his army out to oppose them. But when Saul saw the army of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart trembled greatly. So Saul figures out he's going to have to ask God for help. He doesn't know what to do. But the Lord did not answer him, neither in a dream or by any prophet he could ask. And Saul can't go and beg Samuel to help him because Samuel is dead. Then Saul said to his servants, seek out for me a woman who is a witch, a medium, so that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, well, we've heard there is such a person in a town called Endor. Now, consulting a witch or a medium was something that was absolutely forbidden to the Israelites in the law of Moses. But Saul does this anyway. So Saul disguised himself and put on other clothes and went to Endor, he and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, consult a spirit for me, and bring up for me the one whom I name to you. And the woman said to him suspiciously, what? And so she said, whom shall I bring up for you? And Saul answered, bring up Samuel for me. And the woman shrieks in fear when something starts to appear. And Saul says, what do you see? And she said, an old man is coming up. He is wrapped in a robe. So Saul knew that it must be Samuel, and he bowed with his face to the ground and did obeisance. And then Samuel, who somehow has been brought back from the land of the dead, says, why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? And Saul answers, I'm in great distress, for the Philistines are warring against me, and God has turned away from me and answers me no more, either by prophets or by dreams, and so I have summoned you to tell me, what should I do? And Samuel said, why do you ask me now? since the Lord has done to you just as he spoke to you by me. He has torn the kingdom out of your hand and given it to David, because you did not obey the word of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord will give Israel, along with you, into the hands of the Philistines, and tomorrow you and your son shall be with me." Uh-oh. What does that mean? Meanwhile, back in the camp of the Philistines, the lords of the Philistines noticed that King Achish had brought David and his men with him. But the commanders of the Philistines were angry with Achish and said, "Send the man back. He shall not go down with us to the battle. What are you thinking?" Then Achish called David and said, "I have found nothing wrong in you from the day of your coming to me until today. Nevertheless, the other lords of the Philistines do not approve of you. Go back now." But I don't think David wants to go fight against the Israelites at all. And this is fabulous. He's getting out of it, right? So David and his men agree to leave early the next morning and go back to Philistia. But the Philistine army is going up to face the Israelites. What happens next? Look for episode 52, A Last Stand on Mount Gilboa.